The Orange Town arc, also referred to as the Organ Islands arc, is the second story arc of the manga and anime One Piece, and the second story arc of the East Blue Saga. The arc begins with Luffy and Zoro out at sea, lost and starving, due to the fact that neither of them have any sense of direction. Luffy spots a bird in the air and uses his devil fruit powers to try and catch it so that they can eat it. However, the bird turns out to be much larger than expected and flies off with Luffy in its mouth. Zoro rows after him but comes across three pirates struggling in the ocean. They jump onto Zoro's boat as he passes them, since he cannot stop, and then try to steal the boat from Zoro, only to get beaten up for it. The pirates then apologize for their actions, recognizing Zoro as the famous pirate hunter, and they explain to him how their situation came about. They were returning from successfully plundering a ship when they came across a small boat drifting the ocean with a female passenger on board. She asked for some food and water and offered a treasure chest as payment. They decided to check the chest first, only to find it empty and that the girl had stolen their boat. A sudden maelstrom appeared and sunk the small boat along with the pirates, while the girl waved goodbye as she drove off with their boat. Back in the present, the pirates growl about getting revenge and worry about what their captain Buggy will do to them if they come back empty-handed, as Zoro wonders who Buggy is. Meanwhile, in a small village named Orange Town, a pirate ship designed as a carousel is docked near the town. One of the pirates on the ship spots Luffy and the bird, alerting the captain, who orders him to shoot it down. In the town, the same girl who had robbed the pirates is running away from three more angry pirates, who are yelling at her to return a map of the Grand Line she stole. An explosion halts the chase for a moment, and something crashes in the middle of the four. Luffy emerges from the smoke unharmed, wondering what shot at him. The girl suddenly gets an idea and calls Luffy, boss, asking him to take care of the pirates. The pirates crowd around Luffy, one of them striking his head and knocking off his straw hat. This angers Luffy, and he easily defeats all three. The girl, who was watching, is impressed by his abilities and introduces herself as Nami, a thief who specializes in robbing pirates. Nami at first tries to form a partnership with Luffy, but when she finds out he is a pirate, she switches to the idea to pretending to turn Luffy into Buggy as her former boss. She ties up Luffy and gives him to Buggy, who locks him in a cage. Later, Nami pretends to join Buggy's crew so she can steal his gold. This works well, until Buggy orders her to kill Luffy to prove her loyalty. Nami's conscience gets the best of her, and she is compelled to save Luffy instead. Fortunately, Zoro shows up in time to save them both. He fights Buggy, cutting him into pieces and marveling at how easily he was defeated. However, when Zoro turns around, he finds that Buggy's hand has managed to detach itself, stabbing him in his midsection. Buggy reveals he has eaten a devil fruit, giving him the power to detach his body parts and separate them into sections, rendering him invulnerable against sharp objects such as swords. However, Luffy, Zoro, and Nami manage to escape by firing Buggy's cannon at him and his crew. Escaping into the empty town, the three meet a dog, Chouchou, and the mayor of Orange Town, Boodle. The mayor explains the dog's situation, where he is continuing to guard his master's pet shop, despite knowing his master is dead. The talk is interrupted by the arrival of Buggy's first mate, Mohji, and his pet lion, Richie. Nami and Boodle escape. Zoro is recovering from his wound in the mayor's house, but Luffy is still stuck in the cage Buggy imprisoned him in when Nami turned him in. Richie attacks Luffy, breaking the cage and sending Luffy flying through a house. Noticing the pet store, Richie then turns his attention towards it. Chouchou defends it to the best of his ability but is no match for the lion. When Luffy comes back to the area, he sees the pet shop burned to the ground and the dog heartbroken over it. Luffy then confronts Mohji and Richie, defeating both of them easily before taking the last box of dog food left from the store and giving it to Chouchou. Zoro and Nami arrive just as the mayor declares that he will fight Buggy, but Luffy knocks him unconscious. Buggy orders Cabaji to kill Luffy, but as Cabaji charges on his unicycle, drawing his sword, Zoro blocks the attack, claiming that he will be Cabaji's opponent. Cabaji and Zoro quickly begin their duel. Cabaji takes advantage of Zoro's earlier wound and kicks him repeatedly in the side, which makes Zoro fall. Zoro gets up, though, refusing to lose, and the fight continues. Cabaji uses a series of carnival tricks, and he charges right at Zoro, slashing him in the side. Zoro stays standing. Cabaji uses a series of tops as a distraction before riding up the side of a building, leaping off of the top, and descending rapidly with his sword pointed down at Zoro. Buggy then launches his hand to grab Zoro's foot and hold him, but Luffy stomps on Buggy's hand to stop it. Zoro leaps out of the way of Cabaji's attack just in time. Zoro gets up to face Cabaji one last time, and they charge at each other. Zoro uses onigiri to take out Cabaji with one slash. He then collapses, and Luffy says he will take care of the rest. Luffy finally takes on Buggy. He and Buggy prepare to face off, and Buggy says how Luffy's straw hat reminds him of a man he hates. Luffy realizes this is Shanks, and says he will pound the answers to his questions out of Buggy. Buggy draws his knives and uses bara bara Japanese cracker, chop chop rice cracker, but Luffy narrowly avoids it. Luffy retaliates with Gomu Gomu no pistol, but Buggy dodges it, leaving Luffy wide open. Luffy then uses Gomu Gomu no sickle, and Buggy uses bara bara emergency escape, chop chop quick escape to dodge yet again, sending Luffy smashing into a building. Luffy emerges from the rubble, and Buggy uses bara bara cannon, chop chop harpoon, knocking back Luffy. Luffy becomes livid when he finds that his hat has been nicked. Buggy realizes the hat is precious to Luffy, so he attacks again, this time managing to stab right through the hat and take it. Luffy remembers his past with Shanks, and yells at Buggy to return his treasure. Buggy then expresses how much he loathes Shanks, and that he will curse him for the rest of his life, and says his plan was delayed for 10 years because of him. His upper body then separates and rises up, and he spots Nami stealing his treasure. He goes after her, but Luffy kicks Buggy's lower body in the groin. Buggy collapses, and even more frustrated after he hears what Nami has said about keeping his treasure for herself, he uses bara bara festival, chop chop festival, his body parts flying around everywhere. Luffy grabs one of his feet and tickles it, pulling on it, really messing Buggy up. When Buggy attempts to rejoin with the rest of his body, his head, feet, and hands come together, but the rest of his body parts are tied up by Nami. Luffy then uses Gomu Gomu no bazooka to send Buggy flying, and he is defeated. Nami gives Luffy the map of the Grand Line as she thanks him, agreeing to partner up with him for the time being. As the trio starts to relax, the townspeople come back into the town, and, upon seeing their mayor knocked out, demand answers. Luffy replies that the three are pirates and he simply felt like knocking him out, and the townspeople chase them out of town, though the three manage to lose them thanks to Chouchou's intervention. Boodle wakes up and sets after them himself just as Luffy, Zoro, and Nami leave the island on two small boats, thanking the three from the dock as they sail off. To Nami's surprise, Luffy had deliberately left one of her treasure bags behind that was worth 5 million belly to help the people of Orange Town rebuild their homes. She warns Luffy never to do that again. With that, the three pirates sail off to continue their journey to the Grand Line.